Hi there, welcome to session LRN 1501 on Oracle GoldenGate Strategy and Roadmap. My name is Jeff Pollock, I'm Vice President of Products, and I'll be your host for this session. We're going to start off by looking at a few big picture industry forces that are influencing GoldenGate product strategy. Then we're going to take a closer look at GoldenGate, some example customer use cases, and our overall product vision. To conclude the session, I'm happy to share 6 important announcements with you about the future of GoldenGate and our immediate roadmap. So let's go ahead and get started. First of all, we believe that we're at an inflection point in the history of computing. For most of our careers, the history of enterprise software has been built around what we call monolithic architectures, software architectures that are large, inflexible, tend to be brittle, and have a lot of tightly integrated components. So whether that's mainframes, mini computers, ERP systems, data warehouses, even big data and data lake environments, those have all been tended to have a design architecture, particularly for data, but also in general, that tends to lean towards the monolithic end of the spectrum. But that inflection point that we're at right now, we're seeing a real strong shift in the industry towards these more distributed architectures. So distributed architectures tend to be a little bit better at these multi-cloud type of environments where there might be applications or data that need to live across different environments, different public cloud environments, on-premises environments, edge environments. We're seeing a real rise in the popularity of service mesh architectures or microservices for more agile CI/CD. In the data domain, we're seeing rising popularity around data fabric and data mesh architectures for distributed data that might need to live across different infrastructure components. And then, of course, from an Internet of Things perspective, we're seeing a real jump in popularity around edge computing and getting a lot of the processing away from the centralized data centers and pushed out closer to where the users are on the edges of the networks. And so that inflection point, we think, is going to continue to transition more and more over the next several years towards the future, where we think that systems architectures, whether that's applications and data, will be more distributed and more decentralized across the board. So cloud as an infrastructure has fundamentally altered the economics of how we run data workloads today. It's made things less expensive. It's given us a lot more flexibility to spin things up and spin things down. But from a data architecture standpoint, not a lot has actually changed really in the last 20 or 30 years. Whether we're talking about older on-premises application data models where you have third normal form OLTP systems that have gone through a shift to the cloud, or on-premises data warehouses and data marts that were built on dimensional models, star models, snowflake models. As those have gone to the cloud, they've tended to have very similar data architecture. Even from a big data standpoint, with the zones and file-based data architectures that we saw initially in the rise of popularity on the on-premises Hadoop environments, a lot of those have even shifted to cloud-based architectures for data lakes and data lakehouses. So from a data architecture standpoint, there hasn't yet been a significant evolution, and that's something that we think is actually one of the things that's going to be transitioning as we move more towards these distributed type architectures. In fact, these distributed systems really do require a pretty significant rethink on how to organize and structure and work with the data in your environment. And so whether you're running your data architecture across more than one public cloud provider, multi-cloud environments, or from on-premises to cloud in these hybrid cloud scenarios, if you have business applications that might be running in multiple cloud regions or even availability zones, or maybe you even just have data about the same business entities that needs to reside physically in different infrastructures. Maybe it's in different parts of the country or in regions across geographic boundaries. We've also seen many organizations, as they modernize their applications, they're moving more towards fine-grained microservices and service mesh architectures, particularly to be able to support these distributed architectures. The increased modularity allows for agility around the deployment and innovation of new features in these applications. So these service mesh architectures tend to be built out around a newer set of design patterns that really emphasize the control plane, data plane relationship. There are a number of lower level design patterns like sidecar proxies and transaction outbox that allow for modularity of how these data relationships exist across modularized software. We're seeing a real push towards event-driven systems where it's the events that are continually flowing across these cloud ecosystems. I've already mentioned the increased push towards edge and IoT computing, where there's a real preference for many applications to do the application workloads closer to the users rather than always being in these centralized or regional data centers. And then all of this kind of gives rise to the need for decentralizing or distributing data, the applications, and even from a device standpoint, decentralizing those devices across wider, more varied physical and geographic environments. So all of these kind of factors are commingling today and causing enterprise architecture to become more decentralized, more distributed, and it's really prompting IT leaders to rethink how they should be designing their data architecture when these modern environments tend to be more distributed and more decentralized. And so one thing we don't lose sight of is the business objective, independent of whether you're running highly centralized or highly decentralized systems, the business objectives largely remain the same, which is we want to be able to help our data consumers in these enterprise organizations efficiently connect to the producers of the data. Again, this is somewhat oversimplified, but in general, you have lots of consumers of data within companies and you have lots of producers of data within companies. And the goal of a data platform or of a data architecture should be to make it easy to connect those data consumers with the data producers. We're seeing a lot of popularity around this concept of data products, and data products can be created directly by the producers of the data, but you can also have demand side data products where the consumers of the data are kind of reformulating or mashing up data to create their own products out of data that's been produced or raw data that's been produced by others. And so these different styles of data products are really the business entities or the data that are being exchanged on these data fabric and data mesh platforms. And in these decentralized environments, the real trick from a perspective or from an architecture standpoint is to be able to provide that data fabric or data mesh platform on top of a highly decentralized infrastructure where some of the data may live at the edge or in IoT devices. Other data may live in one or more public cloud environments or cloud or customer environments, even on-premises or private cloud environments, and being able to make cohesive sense of all of that data, even while it's flowing through these decentralized architectures. It's really the key to understanding or empowering, if you will, these modern data architectures. And so that's in large part what's driving the GoldenGate strategy. We think about all these forces that are going on right now in the world around data management, whether it's through analytics and the rise of popularity around these data product concepts. In the applications domain, we're seeing a shift towards these service mesh and microservices architectures. We're seeing a lot more interest in distributed data and distributed database architecture. We're seeing, from an analytics standpoint, investments in cloud data warehouses, cloud-based data lakes, rising popularity around machine learning and AI data science initiatives that are happening inside of data lakehouse architecture. So all of these forces are kind of going on at once, and they're happening inherently in a decentralized way. There's many organizations are investing some use cases on Oracle Cloud, other use cases on Amazon Cloud, more use cases on Azure Cloud or Google Cloud. Even from an on-premises standpoint, we see the diversification or modularization of software happening through the rise of Docker containers and Kubernetes based service mesh architectures, et cetera. So all of this is going on at once, and we're thinking about these industry forces while we build out that GoldenGate strategy to support a modern data management architecture that's built around these distributed real-time streaming architectures. And so GoldenGate targets these 8 data-driven use cases. These are the core use cases that we target from a platform perspective. So that includes supporting application modernization, supporting data continuity and high availability use cases, being able to help organizations invest in streaming data ingestion, in moving data to cloud, whether that's public cloud or private cloud architectures, or even ingestion into on-premises data lakes. We also see GoldenGate specifically targeting data products for streaming analytics and helping organizations provide time series and geospatial analytics directly on real-time event streams. We see support for modern application architectures like event sourcing as organizations begin to not just move their apps to the cloud, but also modernize their apps into newer microservices patterns. The event sourcing type patterns for software development can be empowered by GoldenGate. GoldenGate is also very widely used for data and database migrations, whether that's to the cloud or even on premise. We see GoldenGate being used broadly for event-driven integration scenarios, as well as for data integration and data pipeline-based scenarios as well. So these are kind of the core 8 data-driven use cases that GoldenGate supports, and it's probably easiest to talk about these with some customer examples. So for application modernization, Netflix is a great example of an organization that was looking to not only move their on-premises billing application to the cloud, but also modernize it in the same step, moving it from a legacy monolithic application towards more of a microservices-based application that was running in the public cloud. And they selected GoldenGate to help with the data migration use cases there. So being able to continually run the legacy on-prem app alongside the newer microservices cloud-based app in parallel during that phase cutover period, really enabling the modernization initiative to happen at that for that Netflix billing environment. Similarly, for PayPal, we see these event sourcing use cases. When you use a PayPal application, the application that actually sends money between people is a different application than the one that actually provides the activity stream of the history of your actions on your account, but they need to be able to talk to each other. And there's a great resource that PayPal published themselves that describes why they selected GoldenGate for a data replication or change data capture based way of supporting what's called the transaction outbox pattern for event sourcing, which is being able to replicate highly consistent and secure transactions between 2 microservices using change data capture. And that's something that's still in place today at PayPal. For data continuity, that really means keeping the lights on, even in light of potential unplanned disasters. Wells Fargo is a customer for GoldenGate microservices. They use that broadly across all of their banking applications to protect their banking systems in case of unplanned outages within or even across data centers. Veritas is a great reference customer for GoldenGate that was able to very quickly migrate hundreds of different on-premises databases into the cloud using the GoldenGate cloud service itself. We also see LinkedIn use cases. Every time you or I might update our LinkedIn profile to reflect a new skill or a new job or a new reference or even just a posting on LinkedIn, we're going to be creating these GoldenGate transactions that get replicated on a global basis. And so doing that streaming data ingestion from the core LinkedIn applications into their backend Apache Kafka infrastructure for their streaming applications, something that LinkedIn's been doing for many years with the GoldenGate technologies. In fact, the LinkedIn engineering team worked very closely with the GoldenGate engineering team on some of those first implementations of GoldenGate and Kafka. We also see event integration as being a core use case. Western Digital actually uses GoldenGate for integrating application events from a number of their core applications and moving those events into different types of environments, either application integration environments, data warehouses, which could be on-premises or in the cloud, as well as part of a cohesive GoldenGate fabric that connects these different SaaS applications, on-premises applications with their on-premises and cloud infrastructure. So really providing that cohesive event integration fabric across a number of different environments. SailGP is a great example of streaming analytics. This is a sailboat racing league that runs on a global basis. And what they do for streaming analytics is they collect telemetry or measurements, device measurements, coming from the race boats, coming from support boats, even coming from the helicopters that are observing the race event. And all of these events flow through the GoldenGate Streaming Analytics application, which performs time series analytics. GoldenGate Stream Analytics is also capable of performing geospatial analytics within geofenced areas as well, all operating on tens of thousands of events per second in these highly competitive racing boat league races. And then last, but certainly not least, the data pipelines area is where we see GoldenGate really being used for data integration use cases, capturing and then moving data between sources and targets. In many cases, also providing streaming-based data transformation as those data events are being moved to different analytic environments, which could include Hadoop, big data environments, Apache Kafka environments for streaming, as well as cloud data warehousing environments like autonomous data warehousing or Snowflake, even cloud data lakes like AWS Lake Formation or Azure Data Lake Gen 2, Databricks even, for example. So all of these different use cases are part of these data pipelines capabilities within GoldenGate. So these are kind of a quick look at the 8 customer scenarios and the use cases that GoldenGate provides. And, that really maps back into these core data mesh and data fabric use cases. And you can see from the customer examples that I've illustrated that GoldenGate can provide data products directly in the form of these raw data events or canonical or master data objects that are flowing through a stream of data. We can also provide data products directly through GoldenGate through streaming analytics like time series analysis, AI and machine learning on real-time data pipelines, et cetera. Those can be provided for directly in GoldenGate. But GoldenGate is also used for empowering or powering different data products as well. And so the data products themselves might be a data collection that lives in a downstream data store like a data lake or a data warehouse, and GoldenGate is populating those environments. Your data products might actually be the more traditional data science-led data products that exist within a data lake or as part of an AI/ML notebook platform, where again, GoldenGate is providing the raw events that actually inform the statistical regressions, for example, as part of your data science initiatives. So whether you're creating data products directly within GoldenGate or you are populating data products through the GoldenGate pipelines, GoldenGate can be part of that overall data fabric or data mesh solution in these core 8 core use cases. So GoldenGate that supports more than 1,000 different combinations of data platforms. For people that are just new to the GoldenGate platform, a lot of times they mistakenly believe that GoldenGate is only about Oracle technologies, but that really couldn't be further from the truth. GoldenGate supports a huge number of source systems as well as a huge number of downstream targets. We can do the real-time event integration as well as the stream processing and data pipelines as the data moves between these different environments. And a huge number of those 8,000 plus customers globally are using GoldenGate technology for these non-Oracle environments as well. So non-Oracle databases, non-Oracle NoSQL stores, non-Oracle running GoldenGate on non-Oracle clouds, supporting non-Oracle data warehouses, non-Oracle messaging systems, non-Oracle data lakes. So GoldenGate can really be used for these enterprise type use cases as well. In fact, it's these enterprise use cases that really drive support for what we call the global transaction fabric. That global transaction fabric is a big part of our vision for being able to seamlessly connect data resources that can be distributed at planet scale across oceans, across continents, separated by thousands of kilometers, and even running on different clouds, different cloud networks, different database technologies, different data lake technologies. So that's a big part of our vision and strategy for GoldenGate, is to really empower this distributed, decentralized mesh of transactions that can flow at planet scale. And that's something that a number of our customers do today already, and we're proven at this scale with huge volumes of data across every single continent on the planet. And GoldenGate is, one of the only, if not the only, technologies that can provide this at this scale. We also see GoldenGate, really being that mixed, what we call heterogeneous environment, to the degree that we talk to customers about, hey, you can bring your own database, you can bring your own cloud, and we can provide that single consistent view of your data across all databases, across all clouds. So if it's, if you're interested in creating that cohesive data mesh or data fabric where you are able to exchange data products between the people that consume data and the people that produce data, GoldenGate might be the platform you need to take a look at. We really see this transaction fabric as being the key to unify your data resources, not only across Oracle technologies like Oracle databases and Oracle Cloud, but also non-Oracle technologies like Microsoft Azure, AWS, Amazon AWS, Google Cloud, open source technologies, Snowflake, BigQuery, Mongo. If you've got data out there in these different systems, GoldenGate can give you that highly consistent, highly secure view on your data across those different ecosystems. So that's a huge part of the vision and strategy for GoldenGate. And so just to summarize now on the vision and strategy, we're really aiming to provide customers that cost-effective self-service platform that makes it easy to connect the consumers of the data with the producers of the data. We're building this technology on a modern real-time streaming data fabric. We're using microservices, service mesh technologies that really excel in these highly distributed multi-cloud data architectures. We really think that's going to be the future that most customers are moving towards as they look to distribute data, make data available in more and more decentralized environments. So that's driving our vision and our strategy. And then when we look at our roadmap, what you're going to hear from us really are, more and more cloud, whether that's Oracle Cloud, non-Oracle clouds, cloud at customer, dedicated regions, edge computing. You're going to see more and more cloud in the future with our roadmap. You're going to see a lot more focused on cost savings. So rolling out low-cost options, simplified pricing for GoldenGate, very efficient cloud consumption for GoldenGate, as well as simplification, building new user experiences that make it easy for non-technical professionals to build out these really interesting global transaction architectures, introducing more and more API or developer-driven shortcuts, using recipes, for example, to help developers get highly productive very quickly. And then, of course, introducing more and more breadth across the technology so that we're covering every single important enterprise resource that our customers might have, whether those are Oracle technologies or non-Oracle technologies. So that's just a recap then in sum on our vision, strategy, and roadmap. Let's take a closer look at some key announcements that we're actually launching here at CloudWorld this year. So we've kind of grouped these into two categories. We've got 3 announcements in cloud, and we've got 3 announcements for on-premises. So for cloud, the first announcement that's up is around 30 new source and target connections. So we're going to be rolling out a whole slate of new technologies within the fully managed OCI GoldenGate cloud service. So that OCI GoldenGate service is the fully managed, elastic, scalable cloud service that runs GoldenGate. We manage it from an Oracle perspective. You just get to take advantage of all the features and capabilities without having to worry about the infrastructure. And now with this announcement, we're going to be rolling out 30 brand new sources and targets as part of that cloud service. The next big announcement that we're making is around a fully managed streaming analytics capabilities. So we're taking all of those industry-leading capabilities around time series analysis, geospatial analysis, stream processing, stream pipelines, streaming ETL, and we're rolling that out in a fully managed infrastructure so that Oracle takes care of all the DevOps. Our customers just get to jump quickly and easily into the application and start building pipelines without having to worry about any of the back-end architecture because we take care of that for you. And then the last big announcement on cloud is that we've certified for MongoDB online migration. So that means that we've got capabilities in the GoldenGate technology stack now to be able to support these zero downtime online migrations from legacy Mongo data stores into newer Mongo compatible data stores or even non-Mongo data stores. And we'll get into that a little bit more in just a moment. But those online migrations are becoming increasingly popular for the Mongo community, and we've certified that for Oracle GoldenGate. Now, from an on-premises standpoint, we are announcing the availability of the GoldenGate 23C beta program launch. And so that means that starting now, any of our customers can nominate themselves to be a part of that GoldenGate beta program. And we look forward to seeing you there. There's a whole host of new features and capabilities that I'll mention in just a moment. And that beta program is available now. We're also announcing a new price point for GoldenGate for Big Data, providing a less expensive a la carte option for reduced pricing, making it more affordable for customers to get into individual 1 or 2 targets at a time rather than having to buy the larger package that had everything bundled in all together. And then last and certainly not least, we're announcing a new package called Oracle GoldenGate Free. And that is a fully free, free use license for GoldenGate. All the features and capabilities are there. And we're really looking to open GoldenGate up to a much broader developer community by providing a free option for people to get going. It's free in perpetuity, no kind of hidden limitations. We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. So those are the 6 big announcements. Let me take another couple minutes sort of to walk you through these one at a time. Again, I've already covered Oracle Cloud Infrastructure GoldenGate, which is our fully managed GoldenGate cloud service. We've got more than 30 new data platforms that we're going to be rolling out starting at Oracle CloudWorld 2022, and we'll be rolling out through the end of Q1 2023, support for these 30 new data platforms. So that includes Postgres, SQL Server, Redis, Kafka, Confluent, a whole host of different Microsoft Azure technologies, AWS technologies, Google Cloud technologies, et cetera, all new. We're the only fully managed change data capture replication platform in the world that provides this array of support for different technologies. And yeah, it's a great milestone in the fully managed OCI GoldenGate service. We've also got the announcement for the fully managed GoldenGate Stream Analytics. So this is a fully managed native cloud service. It's built so that you get to use this highly intuitive browser-based development IDE to build your real-time pipelines. And then everything is fully managed by Oracle on the back end. So it's an easy hourly subscription. Oracle takes care of all the back end infrastructure. You know, you don't even need to know the details about what's running behind there. There's Kubernetes and Apache Spark and Apache Kafka and all sorts of infrastructure there that Oracle is managing as part of this fully managed experience. And now our customers don't have to worry about any of that complexity. And this service will auto scale up to a factor of 3, just like the core GoldenGate service, and will allow for very high speed, high throughput streaming analytics in this fully managed environment. So we look forward to everyone giving this a shot, and make it easier than ever for people to get started with streaming analytics. Next up is the Mongo online migrations announcement. And as I mentioned previously, this is to help organizations that are moving from maybe some older MongoDB environments into newer MongoDB environments. Those newer MongoDB environments could be other Mongo deployments such as Atlas, or other Mongo compatible DBs such as Cosmos DBs. But we also see organizations moving into more powerful, more cost-effective, autonomous JSON database or autonomous transaction processing, or even the Oracle NoSQL database as well. And GoldenGate has now been certified to provide online migrations for these different kinds of environments. And that's something that we look forward to everyone giving a shot in this environment. This, by the way, this runs both on premises as well as will be available in the cloud once that Mongo support is rolled out inside of OCI GoldenGate. So shifting gears to some of the on-premises announcements, we've got this big announcement around the rollout of the beta program for Oracle GoldenGate 23C. There's a ton of new features coming in GoldenGate 23C. Unfortunately, I can't go through every single one of them here today. I just want to hit a couple of the highlights. We've got new support for edition-based redefinition, which allows for online application upgrades. This is very important for many of our applications customers through eBusiness Suite, or even third-party applications that may depend on edition-based redefinition. This is the only tool in the industry that has such deep integration with edition-based redefinition, and will really help organizations that are providing these real-time feeds for upgrades using EBR. There's a whole host of diagnosability improvements that makes it easier to run GoldenGate, easier to check the health of GoldenGate. We've also we're rolling out a whole bunch of new performance and ease of use updates around GoldenGate. So this could be increased parallelism, automatic change or conflict detection and resolution enhancements, etc. So there's a whole host of cool new capabilities there. We're dramatically improving the way that the HA architecture is used with GoldenGate. So removing dependencies on DBFS and ACFS. We're removing dependencies on rack-based clusterware. We're building in our own microservices proxy for easier distribution of compute tier services for GoldenGate microservices. So all of this will just make it a lot easier to run GoldenGate in these distributed HA environments. And that's something that many of our customers, run GoldenGate for these mission critical applications that can never go down, literally never go down. We've got a new streaming event service I encourage everyone to take a look at that'll make it a lot easier for downstream applications to consume exactly once transactions from GoldenGate microservices. And we're going to see a whole host of improved user experience around GoldenGate through both the microservices tier as well as new and improved IDEs for working with next-gen GoldenGate Studio as well. Also, from an on-prem perspective, we're rolling out the new lower cost a la carte pricing for GoldenGate for big data targets. Not a whole lot to say here. It's becoming much more cost effective to get GoldenGate for big data when you only have 1 or 2 targets. If all you need to do is replicate transactions from a source environment to Apache Kafka or to your Azure Data Lake, for example, you can now pick up these technologies one at a time through the normal GoldenGate price list. So encourage you to reach out to your Oracle rep and ask about this new lower cost pricing opportunity for GoldenGate for big data targets. And then again, last but certainly not least, for the first time in 25 years, everyone can now take advantage of Oracle GoldenGate, which is the world's most popular real-time data integration software. It's 100% free. It's free for all environments. It's ideal for trials and education, but it can also be used for production if that's what you want to do with it. The license never expires. It's a perpetual license for GoldenGate free. It's fully featured. You get all features of GoldenGate there. It's the latest and greatest microservices capabilities of GoldenGate. And you're also getting a brand new user experience built around what we call recipe-based integrations. And so it's a full featured environment. The one resource limitation to be alert to is that this is predominantly targeted for supporting data stores that are less than 20 gigabytes. So any data store between 0 and 20 gigabytes as the source and target, you can use GoldenGate free, all versions, and you're good to go. For our initial release of GoldenGate free, we're really focusing on the Oracle to Oracle use cases, but stay tuned. We've got a whole host of other sources and targets coming. So you're going to see Postgres, you're going to see MySQL, you're going to see more big data targets like Kafka and cloud-based object storage, et cetera, all packaged as part of this GoldenGate free. Encourage everybody to take a look at this when it rolls out shortly. So that covers GoldenGate free. So just to recap then, these 6 new and exciting announcements, 30 new sources and targets, OCI GoldenGate, fully managed stream analytics. We take care of the DevOps, so you don't have to. Certified MongoDB online migrations, GoldenGate free. Yes, you heard that right, free GoldenGate. GoldenGate big data pricing got less expensive, so it's more economical to get into GoldenGate for big data. And then we're launching the beta program for GoldenGate 23C beta. So if you're an existing customer and you want to try out GoldenGate 23C, go ahead and sign up now to take part in that beta. And so, yeah, just a summary and key takeaways for the whole presentation. We believe we're at an inflection point for modern data architectures. Distributed data is the new normal. As we kind of move forward in time, you're going to see more and more movement away from those monolithic legacy architectures of the past. Most everybody is going distributed, whether it's from the applications tier or the data tier. This is an inevitability that distributed data will happen more and more. So the GoldenGate strategy really is quite simple in that context. We really want to focus on providing an easy, simple way for consumers and producers to connect via data products on this distributed data mesh and distributed data fabric architecture. That's the strategy that we're following. That's the vision that we're after for GoldenGate, and you heard it here. Our roadmap is for more cloud, more cost savings, more simplification, and greater breadth and technology support. And then, the 5th point is go ahead and get started now. You've got loads of resources available to you. You've got live labs. You've got sessions here at CloudWorld this week. Contact your Oracle rep or your Oracle product manager for GoldenGate, and we can give you more resources to get going right now. So this has been session LRN 1501, GoldenGate Strategy and Roadmap. My name is Jeff Pollock, VP of Products for Oracle, and I hope you enjoyed the session. It was really my pleasure to be here today with you. Thank you so much, and goodbye.